What is up, everybody, and welcome to Happy Hour Hoops live during Game 6. About 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the Indiana Pacers are forcing a Game 7. Steve, Jake, and myself here, presented by Trainwreck Sports, talking hoops in the middle of the NBA Finals. Guys, this is the first time we've gone live and done a pod during a finals game, and Indiana is giving us what we wanted all along, a Game 7.
Yeah, and a statement win going into Game 7. A win that, I'll be honest, guys, after Game 5, I didn't really think we'd see. I know we talked on the pod last week, and we said that we were hoping it was going to go 7. We think the Pacers could win this in 7, or the Thunder in 7, but we were really rooting for this series to go 7, and we're going to get what we wanted. But the way it happened, I really didn't expect to see it this way. We're talking about Halliburton having the worst game of probably his postseason career in Game 5. And then all the injury news comes out. And Dunny, I'll be honest with you, 24 hours ago, I didn't think he was going to play tonight.
Same
I
here.
didn't even think he was going to play tonight. And then you have the Pacers run the Thunder out of the gym. I mean, if you looked at these teams and you just switched their jerseys, the Pacers won this game exactly how the Thunder usually beat down their opponents. They just forced them into turnovers. They ran on them. I mean, and the Pacers this was a masterclass. And it's the Sopranos meme where every time I feel like I'm out, the Pacers pull me back in.
Yeah.
And I felt like they were dead. I felt like Halliburton wasn't going to play. They were dead. And then they just pull me back in this game because, guys, as crazy as this postseason run has been, as impressive as the Pacers postseason resume has been, this has got to be their most impressive win yet. It's unbelievable that we're saying that again. But I'm blown away. I did not expect to see this at all. I'm excited. Game 7, man. It's going to be an absolute brutal test for the Pacers in OKC. That's the hardest place to win in the NBA. It's been the hardest place to win in the NBA in the past 3 years. And now you're telling me we get a Game 7 for an NBA championship for two teams who, oh, by the way, had never won one? Oh, I mean, strap me in. Let's go. Let's just get to Sunday night, man. Oh, my God. Wow. Wow, what a game.
Yeah, man. I picked OKC minus 6.5 today. I thought this was fun. I thought the Pacers, not that they were gonna roll over, but like Halliburton looked cooked, man. Like, to be honest, the last game, and I was worried about that cap and everything else. And yeah, the Pacers were gonna be home in this game, but it just felt like this Thunder team was understood the moment in Game 5 it was gonna come out, and someone. Right before we came on here, I was scrolling Twitter because this game was a blowout, so there was nothing really else to do rather than just listen to the thing. And someone said human nature is undefeated, and honestly, that's the best way to describe this game because these teams have been so evenly matched all series. I overthought it, honestly. Should have just realized like OKC was a little bit complacent maybe coming into this game, but it doesn't matter because the Pacers were not gonna. You were gonna have to like step on their throat and rip it out to take them out tonight in Indiana. That team played with such heart, such determination, and even if they get blown out in Game 7, to have that moment in Game 6, like you said, out of this whole playoff run, the greatest win that they've had, probably the greatest win in Pacers franchise history tonight, honestly. So shout out to Indiana Pacers fans, shout out to the organization to be in this position to have a Game 7 against this superpower fucking Thunder team that we all just penciled in to win a title, and they're one game away from losing it. And honestly, if they lose this series, there's a lot more question about like all the pressure in my mind. While they're the home team, all the pressure is on Oklahoma City in this game because Indiana's been playing with house money. I feel like this whole playoff run, it kind of feels like they have been. And
They've been the
Oklahoma City
underdog.
now.
In every game
absolutely.
of the series.
What is the poly market? Let's check the odds right now. I wonder what they are live. Even at the moment, 76% Oklahoma City still, and that's probably going into Game 7. Like no one's gonna buy it that the Pacers are gonna get Game 7.
We
No,
might
man.
have.
I think I might just have to lay like something crazy on the
Yeah.
money line and just hope for the best, right? Like, oof.
Yeah, it's crazy, guys, and rarely do we ever say that a basketball team played a perfect game, especially in the NBA Finals. But this is the closest thing to a perfect game from the Pacers tonight that I've seen in quite some time, in any basketball game, because they just they just understood. They got out to an early lead. SGA started to hit some shots. He strung together some scores, in a row there in the first quarter. And you go, okay, here come the Thunder. Second quarter begins. It's back and forth. At the 10-minute mark, around the 10-minute mark in the second quarter, Halliburton and TJ McConnell just took over the game, and that's who I want to give the first shout out to here. Is TJ. He's been a dog all playoffs. The Pacers would not be in this position in the NBA Finals if TJ McConnell wasn't on this Pacers team. And I thought he really kind of ignited the that big run that they were able to stretch it to 18-20 for the first time, and then they just did not look back after that second quarter. Obviously, Siakam ends the first half with a crazy poster, and then the turnaround at the buzzer. It, going into halftime, even though we've seen some great comebacks in these playoffs, it just kind of seemed like OKC was dead anyway. And I really do think the Pacers played a near perfect game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. You talked about SGA. They had forced 8 turnovers for SGA. We were talking about this before we went live. Jalen Williams, who scored 40 on him in Game 5, was a minus 40
Yeah,
on the court tonight. I mean, it was
it's hard
unbelievable
to
how
do.
they took the best players of OKC out of the game, made them uncomfortable, forced them into mistakes. And you're giving TJ McConnell credit. I'll keep giving this guy credit, Dunny. I got to give Obi Toppin credit. The
Yep.
spark he shows them off
Leading
the
scorer.
bench has been unbelievable. I think he had 20 tonight, right? I think
Yep.
he finished with 20. Unbelievable game for him. And he's another guy too who I say it all the time. The Pacers just get the best out of these role players. Didn't really have it with the Knicks. Came to Indiana, kind of found his groove. And if you guys remember, Game 1, Obi Toppin looked lost for the first 5 minutes he was on the floor in the NBA Finals. Looked lost. Turnovers, just couldn't hold on to the ball, taking bad shots. And you got to give credit to Carlisle as a veteran coach to kind of keep him in there, right? He knows that this is the guy's first NBA Finals. They got to kind of get used to it, get used to the flow. And really, since then, he's hit the ground running. And Obi Toppin has been one of their most useful players coming off the bench. And he comes into games very early, and he plays in impactful minutes. So it's credit to Carlisle. It's credit to these role players on the Pacers, and it's also credit to them to never stop believing. That's the one thing with this Pacers team. They've been the underdog in every single game in the NBA Finals. Like, don't tell me that the players don't see that. They know that they've been the underdog. They see what they're saying after them when they win, especially when they lose. It's even more, magnified. And now, this is a team that, okay, we got one game left. That's it. It comes down to just one game. Yeah, it might be on the road. Yeah, OKC might be an absolute madhouse. But it's one game now, and the Pacers have done everything this postseason to just prove everyone else wrong and play as a team. And tonight, like you said, this was perfection. This was really as perfect of a basketball game as you could draw up if you're an Indiana Pacers fan. If you would have told me Tyrese Halliburton probably wasn't going to play most of the fourth quarter, I would have been like, oh, they probably got blown out. He's injured, don't want to risk anything going into next year. No, 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 no. They don't want to risk anything going into Game 7. This guy balled out tonight in a game that many of us didn't even think he was going to play, and now we got a do-or-die Game 7. This is exactly what we wanted. It's probably not going to ever be talked about as much as it should, this NBA Finals, just because once again it's smaller market teams. The only way I feel like this ever gets talked about, in the history, let's say 10 years from now, is if OKC does turn into a dynasty. But in terms of just pure enjoyment for a basketball watching, perspective, this NBA Finals has given us everything we wanted. And I can't wait for Game 7. If there's, one team that will be able to go into Oklahoma City is probably close to a double-digit underdog and give them a game, it's this Indiana Pacers team. So I'm ready. I can't wait to see what Game 7 has in store for us, because this game like I said, Sopranos meme. It brought me right back in. I was ready to look forward to the NBA draft. Halliburton injury. They got crushed in Game 5. I'm like, all right, just let's get this over with, and then let's get into what I call kind of the 2 months of like the sports, betting hiatus for me. I golf a lot, watch a little WNBA here at night, here and there. Occasionally, maybe bet on a home run in baseball, and then just kind of focus on getting ready for the fall sports. Oh no, not yet. Not yet. We got about 3 more days to lock in, so I can't wait for Game 7. What a statement when they get there too, and also what an unbelievable finals series. We've seen a little bit of everything from comebacks to games down to the wires to one team just blowing the other one out of the water. Different players stepping up, different bench guys stepping up from each team. It's been unbelievable. So hey, we got one more. We got what we wanted, guys. We got a 7-game series.
We did get what we want. And Steve, I like that you mentioned we have 3 more days at least of this NBA season, because I want to applaud the NBA on something that's not very popular, and I don't really like it sometimes either. But the 2 days in between games when you're switching cities in the NBA Finals allowed Tyrese Halliburton to play in this game.
Yeah.
Because I think if you take that calf strain injury and you only have 1 day of rest, I don't know if he makes it back. He looked great tonight on it. Obviously, didn't get his full workload and didn't really have to because they blew the doors off the Thunder. But just wanted to point that out. I really hadn't thought of it until you said that. But I don't know if we see Halliburton if it wasn't for the switching of cities, the 2 games in between. And now, like you said, we get 2 more days. Game Sunday. I also, while you were talking, just want to, if anyone's watching live or listening live, James Johnson checked into this game for 2 minutes.
Oh boy!
And he got ejected in those 2 minutes.
Shout out James Johnson. I didn't even see that.
Oh
that's just
God.
the cherry on top for this Indiana Pacers team tonight.
What did he do?
Grabbing the victory.
That's crazy.
I looked over at the screen and he was walking through the tunnel and untucking his jersey. And I checked Twitter and he got ejected.
Yeah, he just full on shoulder checked the dude like for no reason. They just said, "See you later, man." That's awesome.
Yeah,
good for him.
I'll do it.
Did you guys see the pregame of Pascal Siakam sent out? All the NBA accounts were retweeting it, where it looked like he was possessed.
Yeah.
The eyes rolling up, staring up into the sky. People are like, "Oh, if I saw that before tip, I would have put everything I had on the Pacers tonight."
Yeah. Just doing a sacrifice there of some sort.
But so that's the thing. Like, I don't ever want Halliburton. I need to talk to Tyrese man to man right here, because he pulled this. You know when Tyrese was the most hurt in this series after all 3 losses. That's when it was like, oh, Tyrese has calf soreness. That's when the story. And that's what I fell for. I said, oh, Tyrese had 0 points in OKC. He must be really hurt. They're mentioning it. He's a game time decision. If he's not healthy, they're not going to do anything. Looked pretty damn healthy tonight. Plus 25, 14 points, 5 assists. That's pretty normal Tyrese Halliburton. He looked hampered. Don't get me wrong. Like he's not 100%. But I've just noticed that the reports have been flying out about his calf soreness after the losses. I don't think we're getting that tonight. I don't think we're getting the calf soreness report tonight after this game. I think he's going to be feeling pretty good. So I'm just on to you, Tyrese. I'm on to your game, and I just want to note that down for us in the future. You mentioned Jalen Williams minus 40. Listen to the other 2 names that were the biggest minuses for the Thunder, just for how crazy this game is. Caruso minus 33, Dort minus 28.
Dort played terrible tonight.
Dort was, but that's like the thing. Like Dort has been able to kind of enforce his will in all the wins for Oklahoma City in the series, and like they found a way. Indiana had them just in a blender in general tonight.
Yeah, they did.
But
Caruso and Dort
they found a way
combined for
specifically.
3 points.
That's crazy. Oh my God, I didn't even look at their points. Yeah, Caruso only took 2 shots too. Like that's
throw
those guys out of their
7
flow.
points between the 3. Throw Chet in there with his 4. I mean, you can't have that.
I said before, I said I was talking about how I thought this game was going to go, and I said I thought the Thunder were going to win, whatever. And I said I don't see how the Pacers can get to like 105 in this game. Pacers get to 108, and it's because they were able to, like you said, like lock down on this bench production. Like really, one player in double digits, Isaiah Joe on the bench, and that's got to be garbage time, right? Like
Yeah, I think
where
that
he's
was
getting
end
that.
game.
Like they didn't really let anybody get going at all. Defend off. I mean, Chet with 4 points, 2 for 9. Like
Yeah.
just the effort level, I think, was what OKC was not ready to get smacked. OKC thought not even. I don't know. I don't even want to give anything about OKC what they thought. I think the Pacers' effort level was just impressive, like it's been all playoffs long. But for them to dig into the reserves one more time again, it was just incredible to see. Like, just it was one of the best blowout basketball games I've ever watched in my life. Kind of reminiscent of the last, you said it, Steve, about this series. I think this is the best series since 2016 easily. And that series, it might even be better basketball like games, because that series had a lot of blowouts into it until
Yeah.
game 7. There's a lot of blowouts back and forth, but this did have the similar vibe of the game 6 blowout in that series when Cleveland just went crazy. You know, Steph get ejected, they're so frustrated, and then you go back to that game 7 and just the momentum of a desperate team in a crazy home crowd. And I just think I underestimated that a lot with the Pacers tonight. And this is a team that never should have been that didn't deserve to be underestimated at this point in this run. No matter what happens in game 7, I'm going to remember this playoff run for what the Pacers did. It doesn't matter if the Thunder are supposed to win the title on Sunday.
They've been the favorites all year long.
we all picked them to make the finals at the beginning of the year. Like, they are supposed to be there. The road that this Pacers team, not just the fact that they're in game 7, but the way that they have gotten here, like that's what I'm going to remember about this NBA season 10 years from now is the year the Pacers just went on this magnificent, and who knows, maybe the Pacers are the team that end up out of this as the team that's back in the final. Like, here's the thing is, we've seen the Celtics and Heat the last 6-7 years trade conference final visits back and forth and finals visits and everything else. The Cavs before that, the Heat before that, everything else. Maybe the Pacers just hang around the conference finals for the next 3, 4, 5 years. They're clearly a playoff battle-tested team. They're like, how are you going to pick again when we get next year to the playoffs? I'm not picking against Indiana if they're healthy. Like, I'm probably picking them to make at least the conference final. Like, this team has proven at this point where they're at, and they could cement themselves Sunday. And I just am a month and a half ago, when they were just bleeding the brakes off the Cavs, I didn't think I'd be sitting here talking about this in June, like about the Pacers one game away from winning the title. It's insane.
Right. I'm telling you, if they do win, if they do end up beating the Thunder, Jake, I think we are going to look back, maybe not right away, but maybe a year or two, and be like, wow, they beat 260, like 4-win plus teams. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if that's been done before in the same postseason. Going through 2 teams like of that caliber, it's crazy, and it's funny because every time they lose, the internet jumps on them, the talking heads jump on them. Every time they win, everyone wants to discredit them. I can't wait to tune in and see what they're going to say on ESPN tonight. But you're right. I mean, the Thunder were expected to win. The Thunder were expected to be in the finals. If the Thunder wins, sure, whatever. The Pacers winning would be so much better for, in my opinion, the story of the NBA this year, the way to tell this playoff run, everything. And like you said, maybe, the Thunder are that team. Everyone's talking about that young dynasty. But maybe the Pacers are a team that can get back pretty regularly too, because, we talk about it all the time. It's not like it came out of nowhere. They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Like they got Pascal Siakam for a reason. They have a really good team. They have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. And the reason no one really kind of acknowledged them or gave them credit is because they started so slow this year. They were below 500, like deep into the season, and then it just kind of clicked for them. And, when you have a great coach with a deep roster, with a team that believes and a team that plays hard, man, I mean, the sky's the limit. And once again, like I said, we're looking at a team that has been to the Eastern Conference Finals back-to-back years and is now one way a win from the NBA Finals. And I say it all the time. Everyone can hate on you, discredit you all you want. Once you get that championship, it all changes. And one guy I point to who's not in, at the NBA, but NHL, Alex Ovechkin. The kind of public perception on him before the Stanley Cup was a complete 180 to what it is after he got his championship. And that's just kind of how it happens with these types of players, right? With these types of teams. You're just going to discredit them until they win, And I know, winning championship isn't easy. And I won't be one of those people who will discredit this Pacers season, regardless if they win or lose Game 7. But a lot of people will. They'll jump right on it. Knicks fans will be salivating just to have the opportunity. But if they win, and I think there's a legit chance that they can win. Obviously, they're going to be the underdogs. But if they win, you can't really say anything anymore. You can't really call the Sabonis Halliburton trade even. You can't really be like, oh, they don't really have a true superstar on their team. You're going to have to start throwing out a lot of credit at these guys. You're going to have to throw a lot of credit at Pascal Siakam, who just look at his playoff track record. He doesn't have bad postseason games. He just doesn't. He doesn't have bad games in the postseason. He's Mr. Consistent. He's been incredible. Tyrese Halliburton, I know he's been up and down, but he's made the big plays, and they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And like you said, Dunny, TJ McConnell, this is a guy, if they can win, is going to get flowers, right? Obi Toppin, Andrew Nemhard, Aaron Naismith, it goes on and on and on. And I think the difference between the Pacers and the Thunder is the Thunder have a clear, this is our top three guys, right? It's SGA, the MVP. It's Jalen Williams, who's pretty much a superstar. I feel comfortable calling him a superstar at this point. I know he went minus 40 today. I don't really care. We saw what he did in Game 5. And then Chet Holmgren, who, is this kind of freak of nature. He's part of kind of their big three. And the rest of the role players are they're solid, but they're kind of interchangeable guys. The Pacers live and die by their role players, because they're pretty much all role players. And then you got two superstars, in Pascal and Halliburton, who can have, a game where one of them takes over, where the other one maybe doesn't. And then it kind of switches. And they're not guys who are going to fill box scores like crazy in the regular season. Yeah, Halliburton will have the assists, but these aren't guys who are ever going to put up like an SGA type of stat line. They're never going to put up like a Giannis, a Jokic, a Luka, a Tatum, whatever. But they'll get theirs, and they'll step up when the moments are the biggest. And that's what's so impressive about this Pacers team, is because I think if they can get that championship, then we're going to be talking about all these other role guys. Like I said, the Obi Toppins, the TJ McConnells, the Aaron Naismiths. If the Thunder win, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about SGA having one of the most impressive seasons. And then, all right, what's the core looking like? SGA, Jalen Williams, and they keep in chat. Is that the big three? They're going to build around it. They're not going to give guys like Casey Wallace or Lou Dort or, maybe Caruso gets a little bit of flowers, but they won't give guys like that. The Pacers, we've seen this the entire postseason. These role guys, these secondary stars are the reason they are here. And it's a perfectly built team, perfectly coached team. And the only reason this series is going 7 is because of that. It's the only reason. On paper, the talent is completely different, obviously. Everyone knows that. That's why they're the underdog in every game. But, man, they got the depth and they got the coaching that they're really pulling this David and Goliath, and they're trying to do it for 16 wins in the postseason and a championship.
Yeah, one of the biggest things tonight, too, is just looking at this now, steals 16-4 in favor of the Pacers.
Insane.
And I mentioned that McConnell and Halliburton run that they kind of had on their own. Nemhard got in on this too, but it was almost like halfway between a trap and a double team, where it was usually Shea, but the ball handler for the Thunder, they would almost wait till he looked away from the double team, and then they would go at him. So they waited till the offensive player's back was to them. Then they attacked the ball. They got a lot of steals that way. I think McConnell might have got 2 or 3 in a row there in that second quarter. And Siakam got his hands on a few loose balls. It was just wanting it more, but the Pacers had the game plan and the grit. And you hope that carries over for them in Game 7. We've seen some blowouts in this series. We've seen some blowouts in some of the other series. I don't think Game 7 is going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be tough on both these teams, and tougher squad will prevail. We'll see.
I hope you're
I'm
right.
done. I'm done predicting.
I hope you're
blowouts
right.
in this. Yeah, I'm just gonna predict a close game and hope for the best. That's gonna be my bet. I hope you're right. It feels like both teams are gonna be really tight. Honestly, like I don't see either team going into this like. I think it's gonna be low scoring rock fight. Like game sevens get weird, they get wonky. But I agree. I don't see a blowout happening in this scenario. I think it's gonna be one of those games where it's like a 10-point lead might feel insurmountable. I don't know if teams even. I don't know if they get there. Tonight was like tonight ended up 108-91.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's low scoring in itself, bro. Like they didn't even get to.
They also kind of walked through the fourth quarter, though.
They did.
It was a kind of a walkthrough for the Pacers. I think
But
they
it
only
could-
scored like 16 points in the fourth.
I said race to 105 basically earlier today. I could see it something like that again. Like race to
Yeah.
105, like 10, 104, 102 is your game 7 final score. That feels good to me.
It should be a lot of feeling each other out in the first quarter. I mean, we got to call it what it is. I know these teams have kind of,
And the refs
done
out.
everything. Yeah, the refs too. I know they've kind of done everything, but these pretty much everyone on both these teams, besides I think one or two players, is going for their first championship, man. In a do or die game, in a game 7, like there's gonna be nerves. Like they're human. There's gonna be nerves. There's gonna be feeling each other out, and I almost feel like the crowd in Oklahoma City is going to put more pressure on the Thunder than help them. Like, obviously, they have the home court advantage, but you understand what I mean when it's just like they are the heavy favorites in the series. They've been the favorites in every game. And now you are going to have a zoo to perform for. And it's a team that is the youngest team in the NBA with not a lot of championship experience under their belt. They got Caruso.
Just Caruso and the bubble.
Right, exactly. But none of these guys have played in a game 7 like this. All they played the Nuggets, like that's fine. But this is totally different. This is a home game 7 for the NBA title. Like that's crazy. Coming off a game where might be the worst loss they've had all year. Not all playoffs. Not all NBA finals all year. This Thunder team, they don't lose big. Their losses, they don't get blown out. So, and the way the Pacers beat them like the Thunder usually bully teams. So that's what was so impressive, right, Dunny? You said it. They had 16 steals. I mean, they were scoring off turnovers. They weren't let the Thunder score off turnovers. It was unbelievable. It was a masterclass. I didn't look at what the rebounding was. I would assume the Pacers probably won the rebounding as well.
Yeah, 46-42.
46-42. So it's slight win, but you still won the rebounding team when you are the undersized team, which is super impressive. I think McConnell had 9, right? TJ McConnell had that. Just like that's effort right there. All right, I'm sorry. You can call it whatever you want. That is just grit and effort. So Thunder have all the pressure now. They have all the pressure to perform. Their backs are up against the wall. And boys, I cannot wait. I really hope the coverage does it justice. I'm going to hope ESPN gives it justice because that place is going to be a zoo. And I just want that, I don't care about it games 1 through 6, but that game 7 winner take all type of game. I want that 30-minute pre-game production. I don't care what Stephen A. has to say. I don't care what Kendrick Perkins has to say. I want to hear the arena. I want to hear, the intros, everything. I want to feel like I'm there. I hope they do production well because, guys, that environment might be one of the craziest Game 7 finals environments we'll ever see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe Stephen A could just play solitaire. We can
maybe
enjoy some
on the
fun
jumbotron. On the jumbotron, get the crowd hyped up before the game. Just have him.
And then he
doesn't care too. He says he's
care,
like, I don't give a fuck.
He lies again. He lied to go. It was during the timeout. They're like, no, we got you on video. Wasn't. The game's going on.
He's a disgrace to sports media, bro. Like at this point, I don't even say that to to judge his work ethic or character or anything. It's like, dude, you're making $100 million a year. You're sitting at an NBA Finals game. You can't be tuned in. You can't have the phone in the pocket.
He has the dream job of about 50 million people,
Yeah,
and
and
he's
is
playing something.
wildly overpaid while ESPN every year gets rid of super talented people.
Yep.
But that's a
We
conversation
could have
for another
over
day.
the summer Dunny Stephen A talk, like a 10
Yeah.
minutes. Just let Dunny go on
Hey,
Stephen A.
that could be a weekly segment over the
Hey,
summer.
We're gonna
I'm
have some
all in
Stephen
for
A
that,
talk.
dude.
We're
I'm
gonna have
all in
Stephen
for
A
that.
talk. Gatesy was
You don't-
plus 6.5 on the Pacers there, so shout out Gatesy. He was
Nice.
locked in tonight. Big win there.
Big one. That covered with ease. That
Easily.
felt like a winning bat midway through the second quarter.
Yeah, you were feeling pretty good about that, Gatesy.
You know what the Pacers confirmed for me tonight?
What's that?
Is that I have no idea still who's going to win Finals MVP for them if they pull it off.
It might be Obi Toppin, bro. Like
He
led him again in
legitimately has a
scoring.
case.
Yeah,
TJ McConnell has a case too.
I mean, look,
He's like won
listen to
them
the
2
point
games.
scores tonight. 16 for Siakam, 17 for Nemhard, 10 for Neesmith, 14 for Halliburton, 12 for McConnell, 20 for Toppin, 7 for Ben Shepherd.
It'll probably, if they win, it'll be whoever has the best game 7. I think.
Probably.
I feel like
You
at
would
this
have to
point
guess
you
at this
can't
point,
really
yeah.
give it to one of them right now. If I had to, probably Siakam. Probably,
Yeah.
right? I feel like Siakam's been the most consistent in the finals.
they might just do Siakam again. I could see that. He's been. I mean, he has been great. Like he has
Yeah,
been great. So I could see that for sure.
but you're right, Dunny. I mean, it's no
It's
guarantee.
tough. Yeah, I wonder what the
Definitely up in the air.
Thunder would be
Tonight was
SGA
just
if they
such a
win,
balanced
right?
win. Yeah.
Yeah,
It would
has to
definitely
be.
be SGA. Oh yeah.
Unless Jalen Williams scores 40 again.
Right now, the favorite is SGA 67% on Polymarket. Pascal Siakam 17, Halliburton 7, J Dub 5, and that's pretty much it. So it's Siakam or Halliburton essentially is what is.
Which is the
to say.
logical.
Yeah.
Logical.
Maybe
But
overthinking it a
Siakam
little.
makes sense. He has been probably the most
Yeah.
consistent, and he's the bigger star. He's an all-star. He's an all NBA guy. It makes sense. I can see it. All right, what do you guys think? Guys, we got to put it on record before we get off here. Who's gonna win? Who's winning this game? I'll go first. I'll pick the Pacers. I'll switch back. I don't care. Like,
You
I'm
switch
not
like
picking
4
against them again.
times this finals.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm picking the
Can't stop
Pacers.
switching.
Jake's having fun, and he wants to. Whoever he
Yeah.
picks, who he wants to win, that's who he picks. Who he wants to win.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm also going with the Pacers.
Oh God, you guys!
I'm going with
I-
the Pacers. Doing it.
I'm having
I'm-
too much fun with this Pacers team.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Pacers. I do think Thunder win though. I really do. I do think they win. The Thunder.
It would be so funny though if OKC just chokes like in some
Oh,
way
yeah.
where the whole summer is just like our OKC frauds. Like that would be the funniest option out of this.
OKC fans would want to run Chet out of town if he has another game like this. They wanted to run him out of town after he went 20-10. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's true, right? A team loses, and it's not like, oh, we're one of the youngest rosters in the NBA. Oh, we just missed the finals. It's like, no, we gotta get these guys off the roster, switch things around, get out the pitchforks. The Thunder, regardless if they win or lose, their future's as bright as any team in the NBA, probably still the brightest. I'm rooting for the Pacers. I'll just say I'll take the Pacers too. I think the Thunder win, but I don't really care because I want the Pacers to win at this point. If I'm wrong one more game in this finals, then so be it. I thought the finals was over about 4 hours ago. I really did. I thought this was going to be we watched the first half kind of walk through pod, and we give the flowers to OKC, as I have to say nice things about SGA for 30 minutes. But hey, we live another day. So go Pacers. I hope they win. I don't know, man. I just can't wait to see that crowd. Oh, it's gonna be crazy. That's gonna be something. That's going to be a sight to see. A Game
It's gonna be
7,
awesome.
Oklahoma City.
And I like that you said 4 hours ago you thought the Thunder were going to be champions, because that's also why I keep leaning Pacers thinking about this Game 7, is because 2 different times in these NBA Finals, I think the majority of the NBA world had already kind of awarded the Thunder the championship.
Yeah.
It was before Game 1 started.
Yeah.
Everyone was talking about the Thunder already being champions, and then after Game 5, we're
Yep.
like, well, looks like, wins out of the Pacers' sails, Halliburton hurt. And I think after Game 5, a lot more fair to think that way. But
Yeah.
before Game 1, it was a little ridiculous. Then we saw what happened Game 1, and the Pacers are the Grim Reaper, man. I'm just not, like, we've had the zombie heat. We've had some crazy teams that don't die. This Pacers group is a special form of that, and I don't want to see them go down to Game 7, and I don't know if I can count them out. So we'll see.
I believe it would be the biggest upset winning an NBA Finals since Rick Carlisle's Mavs.
I agree.
So, hey, if anyone knows how to do it, man, if anyone knows how to do it, be the underdog. It's that guy right there.
They were also saying he's the oldest coach in NBA Finals history.
Good for him, man.
Awesome.
Good for him.
Is that going to do it, fellas? We got
Yeah,
a
I think
Game
that's
7
it.
Sunday to look
Game
forward
7
to.
Oh, I'm ready. Lock
Let's see
in.
what happens. We're ready. Let's do
And,
it.
Get to watch Scotty Scheffler win by 15 at the Travelers, right into the NBA Finals.
Should we do like 2 minutes on Desmond Bain to the Magic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Why
I
not?
haven't recorded since then. Desmond Bain to the Magic. Lot of stuff in exchange. But
A lot of stuff.
Can I say
Seriously.
something, though?
Yeah.
First off, this is the exact need the Magic needed. The Magic's biggest weakness is, number one, they don't have a pure scorer from the outside. As much as I love Banchero, and I think we all agree Banchero is a superstar and he's going to be probably a top 10 player in the league next year. He's not as consistent from outside. Desmond Bain, one of the most consistent shooters from outside. You need that. You need a scorer. Desmond Bain showed when Ja was out in Memphis that he can handle being a kind of a point guard too, and he plays pretty good defense that gives him kind of that hybrid guard, point guard, shooting guard with Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs, you won't have to rely as much on is his shooting now, which he could struggle a little bit with. He could be more of your playmaker and then just a dominant defensive point guard. And now you got a guy, guys, Desmond Bain, all he needs to do on the Magic, he could just average 25. He doesn't need to pass. He doesn't need to rebound. He just shoot, and they'll be fine. But I also say this, too, and I know they gave up a little bit going back the other way. And the 4 picks, everyone just loves to talk about draft picks. You have to trade for what's in your window. The Magic, Desmond Bain fits their window perfectly. Age, talent, skill level, the defense he brings, he can shoot. And this is a guy I think that is a perfect fit for this team, where now you look at this, Magic, core right now. Suggs, Wagner, Bain, Banchero. We'll see if they keep Carter. I don't know if they will. We'll see what happens there. It's their big man. But that's a core you can win with. And then the Magic, we talked about how good they've been on their defense, how dominant Banchero can be. But what's the one biggest thing about the Magic is on some days they just go ice cold shooting and they score 80 points. Well, now you got Desmond Bain. And this is a guy we've seen that can be consistent to score 25 a night. And I think the Orlando Magic's a perfect fit for Desmond Bain, where we could see him almost have like a Bradley Beal type Washington Wizards breakout, where he averages about 28 points a game, because he's not going to get doubled. They got to worry about Banchero. Now Jalen Suggs, pretty good playmaking guard. You have him leading the offense now. Wagner's great. All the guys on the Magic really can pass, which is a rarity for a starting 5. And now you got Bain, who's just a pure scorer, but can kind of do everything else. He was kind of had to with Memphis's injuries. I think it's a perfect landing spot for him. And it's not going to be an overpay if they get, the Desmond Bain that we've seen the past couple of years. I truly believe that. I know people complained about the deal. You're not winning a championship with Cole Anthony. I'm sorry. You're not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, who cares? Like, you're trying to win now, and we've seen how good this East is. Go get the guy, and they did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Go ahead, Jake.
No, I was just gonna say it's perfectly said. They needed exactly that. They needed a shooter. They needed that guy. And really, the price, like a lot of those picks are their picks. They think they're gonna be good. They're really worthless. The one pick that's worth it is the Suns pick. That's a worthwhile asset. But eventually, it's the same topic with Utah. It's the same thing with this OKC team in the summer. You have to do something with all those picks. You can't just bring in like if you're trying to win titles, you can't be bringing in 4 young guys every year.
Right.
Like the math just doesn't add up. So I like it. It adds. They clearly believe in this core. Orlando. I think we believe in Orlando. I'm pretty scared of Orlando if they're healthy next year. They had the horrible injury luck this year, and now they're a more complete roster going into next year. It's an awesome move for them. And for Memphis, they have so much flexibility now to. Memphis can either blow it all up or they can add another piece next to Ja and Triple J with all these draft capital that they just picked up, or they're going to have an awesome draft pick to use this year at the trade deadline or something else with that Suns pick, because we know the Suns are heading towards disaster in the next couple of days, which I guess that's the only thing we'll have to wait for Game 7 is where will Kevin Durant possibly end up 30 minutes within the Larry O'Brien trophy being handed out in Oklahoma City on Sunday. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting summer, but I like the move a lot. And I mean, the price sticker shock looks high, but I think for what Orlando's trying to do right now makes all the sense in the world. And I listened to him on his pod. He listens on, what's that? I can't remember the name of the show. What is it called now? The old JJ Redick show. And I can't remember what they changed the name to.
The 3 anymore?
Is it maybe it's Young Man in the 3 now or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they interviewed Desmond Bain like yesterday after the trade and everything, and he seems super excited about it, and just like at the thought of playing with Paolo and Franz was very exciting for him. And there's a bunch of dogs on that team. Like Bain's a dog. He's got some edge to him. Orlando has some edge to them as a team. So I love it. All net positive.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It honestly feels like one of those dynasty fantasy football trades where Memphis was just kind of like, we don't really seem to be in a position to make a run at the championship here. Let's get some assets back, figure it out in a little bit, maybe retool this season. Where Orlando's like, I actually really like our core. We are just missing this one thing, and then maybe we can make a run at it. Maybe overpay a little bit, but at the end of the day, both teams are kind of walking away with a stern handshake and a head nod and going about their ways and satisfied for different reasons, obviously. But yeah, I think it's a good fit for the Magic. You guys both mentioned it, but they just desperately need outside shooting, especially to play alongside Paolo and Desmond Bain. Not just a scorer, offensive player. Like this, he's a gritty dude. He played for Memphis, so he knows all about that. And then he's just a hard-nosed player. Like he plays like a TJ McConnell. He plays like those guys who just the motor doesn't stop until you hit the bench. So that kind of fits in perfectly with the Magic play style. And yeah, it should be a good addition for the Magic. And then, like you guys said, Memphis, we'll see. I think they can go a lot of directions here. It almost seems like they just kind of realize this core is probably not going to get them over the hump. And it's going to be interesting. Edie had some weird injury and he had to get surgery. He's going to miss the beginning of next season. And then Triple J, they got to kind of figure out what to do with him. And then are they sticking with Ja? Is he going to be the franchise guy? So some question marks still on the Memphis side, but great move for Orlando. And yeah. You guys good with it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. We will all be locked in, the whole NBA community, for Sunday, Game 7. We can't wait. We will be back on here next week to talk hoops. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Happy Hour Hoops, presented by Trainwreck Sports. Game 7 Sunday. See you there.
Later.